Hey, what's up, my friend? Chris here. In today's video, I'm gonna master a song by using only one plugin. And the plugin is called Masterclass by Musik. It's a mastering plugin that has been out for maybe a few months, and there's already a buzz around this plugin on social media. It's a very easy mastering plugin to work with. There's no AI involved, so you're the one deciding how you're gonna master the music. And the whole idea behind this plugin, from what I understand, is to get a pro mastering result with a quick and efficient workflow. So you basically have everything you need to get a pro result. And if you love loud masters that sound transparent, which is always a challenge to produce, stick around because there's something pretty cool within this plugin where you can get loud and transparent masters. So let's check it out and master some music. Okay, so let's have a quick listen to the song I'm going to be working on today. Okay, cool. I mixed that song years ago. I'm going to leave the links below if you want to listen to the whole thing. And now I'm going to master this song using only Masterclass, okay? So as you can see, it's not a very complicated plugin, pretty simple to get around. I can tone shape the master with the high shelf and low shelf knobs for lows and highs that will attenuate or reduce when it comes to the low knob, the warmth and low end frequencies. The high knob will remove or add a bit more air, crispiness, the top end basically. And I'm going to start by playing with these two knobs here to tone shape the sound. Okay, so I think that can work pretty well. Now, when mastering, every little move is going to go a long way. Okay, you don't need to add a lot for it to show and to be effective in a mastering session. Cool thing with this plugin is it's a mastering plugin after all, so it does have that in mind. By boosting all the processing of this plugin, it does it in a very gentle way, and that's very important. So even if I boost like 2 dBs, it will do it, but very gently. If you need to boost or cut way more than that, it probably means that you need to work on the mix a bit more before getting into mastering. Next, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just get a bit more stereo width with the wide knob. Now, stereo imaging in mastering, again, it's something that I do if I need to, if I feel that's going to benefit the song. And if I do so, again, I am very, very gentle with stereo imaging. That can actually affect the mono compatibility of your master if you add way too much. In this case, they do have a mono safe kind of processing going on under the hood, which makes it mono compatibility friendly. Even if you add a lot, it will not affect the mono compatibility, which is quite nice. But again, I still keep it gentle, just to add a bit of width and not too much. So let's have a listen. Okay, so I think that is gonna work well. I have other options to tone shape the sound if I need to make some EQ corrections. For example, if I have like a low mid buildup, I can use clean to tame down the low mids. I don't need to do a lot here, but it does sound pretty good, so I'm going to keep it. I can add a bit more thickness by adding some saturation. And when I'm talking about saturation in mastering, we are not talking about distortion or heavy saturation. We're mainly talking about adding harmonics, okay, to the sound to thick the sound up. That's pretty cool. I kind of like that. Now, some will ask me if I add compression when mastering. It depends. Most of the time I'm not, especially when I master my own mixes. I already have a compressor on my mix bus, and the main role of the compressor on a full song is to glue things together. So that job has already been made on my side usually, but it's going to happen when I master a client's project that I'm going to reach for a compressor just to glue things up before hitting the limiter. So if I need to do so by using Masterplan, I can use Smooth, and that will add gentle compression, and it is gentle. And that's, again, very important. You want compression to be transparent in mastering. It's pretty nice. I don't need it for this song, but that can be very useful. Same for multiband compression. It is there within Masterplan. If there's an overbuild in the mid-range, you can tame this down by using a multiband compressor, which can be a lifesaver in mastering sometimes. Again, I don't use multiband compression often when I master, but if I need to, dynamic EQ or a multiband compressor can do the trick to get under control a certain band of frequencies. And in this case, we have a 3-band compressor, for the lows, to control the mid-range and the highs. So that can be very useful. Again, I'm not going to use it on this one. Then there's Calm, and Calm will focus more to reduce the harshness of a mix. And by activating Calm, it will tame down some of those frequencies. If I click on ×2, it will double the amount of frequencies affected by Calm. So let's try it out. Now, I always overdo things when I test a parameter out of a plugin or a plugin itself, just to know and hear what the effect is actually doing on my signal. So when I push Calm to 100%, and I put it on, you can actually hear the high mids, the high frequencies being attenuated. So that can be very useful to tame down harshness, which I don't need for this one, but it's there if you need to. Tape is actually very nice if you want to add a high-end roll-off or just bring your bass a bit more tight. You can use tape, So tape, the way it works on this one, it's not like the amount of tape, harmonics, or saturation you're going to add. It's mainly going to focus more on the bass frequencies to get a tight bass when you bring it to the lowest level. And the more you increase it, the more you will get the top end roll-off tape effect. But the minute I put it on, I can hear what it does right away, so I kind of like that. So I'm going to leave it on and keep it as is. Now let's look at loudness. I'm going to show you the way I get the right loudness for the song I'm mastering. Now you can aim for a loud master or a more conservative dynamic master. I'm not gonna jump into that debate. In my case, I don't care if the master is loud or not, as far as it sounds good, okay? And the reality is, the more loudness we add to a master, the less dynamic range we get. At some point, the sound quality of the master will suffer, okay? I'm actually going to show that to you right away. So there's a compromise when aiming for a loud master. So basically, at the end of my mastering chain, there's always a limiter, okay? And this is where I'm going to get my loudness from. So in my book, to get the loudness right, it needs to sound transparent. Okay, and that's always a challenge. But on the Masterplan plugin, the way they designed the loud knob is actually very, very well done. It's a combination of clipping and limiting in a sort of algorithm that they built for the plugin, which makes loudness as transparent as possible. And while I try this out, I'm going to click on Unity, so the volume is not going to change. The more I add loudness, I'm only going to hear the effect of loudness. And you'll see, I'm going to push it pretty hard, and you'll see that at some point, I'm going to lose audio quality. You will start to hear the overcompression effect and losing lots of punch, especially on the drums. So pay attention to this. Okay, so now I pushed it pretty hard. I'm up to minus 5.7 lufs. So if I bypass the whole thing, it does bypass the tone processing I made so far on top of the loudness. But just pay attention to the kick and snare, how much I'm losing when I add too much loudness. Everything is getting crushed. Okay, so that is the downside of intense loudness. So my goal is not to bring the master to minus 5.5 lufs. I'm gonna bring that down a bit, and I'm gonna keep an eye on my lufs metering at the bottom. We have access to the lufs integrated metering, which is the average level from start to stop. And this is what streaming services will look at. They will look at the average loudness, perceived loudness level for the full song. And streaming services like Spotify will normalize loudness to minus 14 LUFS. And when I master, I don't aim for minus 14, I just master a bit louder, but I also don't aim to get the loudest master. I'm kind of an in-between type of guy when it comes to loudness. So I like a master that is loud, but at the same time that has some dynamics also. So keeping that in the middle for me is the way I prefer. So somewhere around minus 10, minus 11 LUFS is going to usually work pretty well. But for that to happen, what I do is I listen to the loudest part of the song, and I'm going to aim for a higher loudness than what I'm aiming for the whole song. Okay, so I'm going to keep my eyes in this case on the LUFS short-term value, which is going to give me the average loudness within a period of 3 seconds. Okay, so this is going to be perfect to what I want to do here. That's pretty nice. I can push it a bit more. Okay, I kind of like that. I'm at around minus 9 to minus 8.5 LUFS, and I think that works well. So that means that when I bounce my master, it will end up to be at around minus 11, minus 10 LUFS. And that's going to be perfect. I'm not losing lots of punch. Actually, you know, the way Masterplan works, I find that the loudness at that level is quite transparent. And I really, really like this feature and the way they build their own algorithm under the hood, you know, which works pretty well. What I want to do here is just to give you an idea. I'm going to bypass, I'm going to bring that loud down. And instead, I'm going to bring up a second instance of Masterplan, and we are going to compare this to my go-to limiter, the Pro L2 by Fab filter. And what I want to show you here is how well Masterplan performs with only one knob when it comes to loudness. So I'm using the second instance of Masterplan only for loudness. So when I bypass, I keep the same mastering tone that I worked on earlier. And by the way, my output level, I bring that to -1, and that will be my ceiling point, which works well for streaming services. Okay, so I'm pushing this one to -7 LUFS. Let's do the same with the Fab filter. Now, on the L2, by using only one limiter, it's not a combination of two limiters and a clipper, only one limiter. Now I can hear the snare starting to be crushed. I can hear a bit of pumping effect also. Now my release time is quite low to get the most loudness possible. Slow attack also on the limiter. I don't know how that works under the hood of the Masterplan plugin, but the way it works seems to do the job pretty well. The snare and kick punch compared to the L2 version is way more present and way more punchier under Masterplan. So I'm going to play that again. Pay attention again to kick and snare. That's crazy. That is crazy. At that loudness level, Masterplan works pretty well by using only one knob. Yeah, that is actually quite surprising. The punch of the drums are still there. And you can hear, you can even hear a tone difference between the two versions. The top end is starting to get squashed also, but under the Masterplan plugin, I'm keeping that clearness, that top end, and especially the punch of the drums, which is nice. I would probably master this song a bit quieter, like I did before, to reach my sweet spot. Now, the goal of this comparison was only to show you how well Masterplan performs when bringing a master loud. But just to know that it performs well loud means for me that when I reach my sweet spot, it will sound just amazing and very transparent. And by using other plugins, I will need to add maybe a couple of limiters in this case, or do my own combination of plugins to get to the same transparency as I'm getting with only one plugin. One last cool thing that I have here with Masterplan is this little option here where you can monitor using different systems. And that is actually pretty cool when mixing more than mastering in my book anyways. So just to show you, I have in my control room inserts, I have an instance of Masterplan that is always there, and I set up to NS10 to focus more on the mid-range while I mix, and I can just activate the plugin if I want to monitor my mix with the NS10 emulation, which works pretty well. Okay, you can also monitor through a phone, mono, you can just dim the volume, and so on and so forth. Okay, so if we listen to the end result by activating Unity, so we get a fair comparison. So comparing the mix with the final master. So that's how I was able to master a song with only one plugin. Now, Masterplan can be used this way by only working inside the plugin, master a full song like I just did. But on my end, what I like to do is to just bring Masterplan part of my mastering chain. And most of the time, I'm just going to use Masterplan for the loudness feature that I will bring at the end of my chain. And it does the job pretty well. So only for that feature, I think it's a great plugin. So I love all of these features that I have on Masterplan, but my favorite, of course, is the way loudness works. So I love the transparency I'm getting, and also the stereo width. Works pretty well. If you want to check out Masterplan, I'm going to leave the link down below. There's a sale going on right now, 50% off. And you can get the demo also. Try it out. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Click on the like button if you did. Until next time, take care and see you.